The ship's lights flickered as Klixner adjusted the landing gear. The small research vessel descended slowly through the thin atmosphere of the blue planet. This world, third from its star, had once been called Earth. "Are you recording all sensor data?" Klixner asked, his four eyes blinking in sequence. Zevla nodded, her scaled skin reflecting the blue glow of the console. "Everything is being logged. Atmospheric composition, radiation levels, geological stability." She paused, checking another reading. "It's remarkable how much this planet has recovered. The historical record suggested total ecological collapse. The two archivists from the Galactic Historical Society had spent the last 3 cycles investigating rumors about this abandoned solar system. According to ancient texts, this region once housed a species called humans, who had mysteriously vanished from galactic records almost 5,000 years ago. Their ship touched down on a flat plain, covered with tall grass. In the distance, crumbling structures poked through dense vegetation. Nature had reclaimed most of the landscape, but signs of the former civilization remained visible. "The scanner is detecting a large underground structure 2 kilometers west," Zevla said. "It appears to be artificially sealed and preserved." Klixnar's excitement made his voice tremble. "Could be a bunker or storage facility. Let's set up the ground transport." The two archivists loaded their equipment onto a hovering platform. Klixnar piloted it carefully through the tall grass, while Zevla continued to scan for any signs of danger. Though no large predators had been detected from orbit, 5,000 years was plenty of time for evolution to create new threats. They reached a hillside where a half-collapsed entrance revealed a tunnel leading underground. Metal doors, once sealed tight, had been pried open by time and the relentless pressure of roots and soil. "This is it," Klixnar said, setting up light drones to illuminate their path. "Remember protocol. We document everything but remove nothing until full analysis is complete." Zevla nodded, checking her environmental suit one more time before following her colleague into the darkness. The tunnel sloped downward for several hundred meters before opening into a vast underground chamber. The light drone spread out, revealing row after row of sealed metal containers. Everything was covered in a thin layer of dust, but otherwise perfectly preserved. "This place had independent power," Zevla noted, pointing to lights that still glowed faintly along the walls. "Some kind of long-term energy source." Klixnar approached one of the containers and carefully wiped away the dust from its surface. A label written in an ancient human language became visible. He scanned it with his translator device. "It says Cultural Archives, North American Region," he read. "This isn't just a bunker. It's a deliberate preservation site." As they moved deeper into the facility, they discovered hundreds more containers, all carefully labeled and organized. Some held physical objects, books, artwork, tools, while others contained data storage devices. "Look at this," Zevla called from across the room. She stood before a large circular door embedded in the far wall. Unlike the entrance to the facility, this door remained perfectly sealed. A control panel beside it still glowed with power. Klixnar joined her, examining the panel. "It's some kind of vault, even more secure than the outer facility." "Can we open it?" "We should document the main chamber completely first," Klixnar replied, always the careful archivist. "But yes, protocol allows us to attempt access if we can do so without damaging the structure." They spent the next several hours cataloging the contents of the main chamber. Each container revealed more about the vanished human civilization, their art, their technology, their daily lives. Despite being considered primitive by current galactic standards, the ingenuity of their designs impressed both archivists. "They accomplished so much with such limited resources," Zevla commented as she examined a mechanical device labeled internal combustion engine. "No wonder the Council historians have always been fascinated by them." Finally, they returned to the sealed vault door. Klixnar studied the control panel, trying various approaches to activate it. After several failed attempts, the panel suddenly lit up brightly, scanning both archivists with a beam of light. "Non-human entities detected," a synthetic voice announced in an ancient language, automatically translated by their devices. Emergency access protocol engaged. Limited data access granted. With a series of heavy mechanical sounds, the vault door began to open for the first time in millennia. Inside, they found a smaller chamber containing a single pedestal. On it rested a crystalline cube that glowed with its own inner light. As they approached, the cube projected a three-dimensional image of a human male wearing what appeared to be a formal uniform. "This is Fleet Admiral John Carter of the Earth Alliance," the projection began. "If you are viewing this message, you have discovered one of Earth's legacy vaults. The date is May 17th, 2157, and this recording is one of hundreds we have left throughout this facility and others like it across our world." The archivists stood transfixed as the human continued. "By the time you find this, humanity as you know it will likely be gone from this planet. The ecological damage we caused cannot be reversed quickly enough to save our home. But I am recording this message to tell you that we have not accepted extinction." The hologram gestured, and the projection changed to show a fleet of massive ships. "We have launched over 500 arc vessels in all directions from our solar system. Each carries thousands of humans in stasis, along with the genetic material of Earth's remaining species. We have scattered seeds among the stars, carrying with them a legacy that will outlive our home." Klixnar and Zevla exchanged shocked glances. The historical records had always suggested that humans had gone extinct during their planet's ecological collapse. There was no mention of a mass exodus. The hologram of Admiral Carter returned. "This vault contains coordinates for all arc launch trajectories, though after so many years, I cannot say where my people may have ultimately settled. We are a resourceful species. We adapt. We survive. Should you wish to know more about us, this crystal contains our complete history, scientific, knowledge, and cultural records." The message ended, leaving the archivists in stunned silence. "This changes everything," Zevla finally whispered. "If humans didn't go extinct, then where have they been all this time?" Klixnar finished her thought. "And why have we never encountered them in the explored galaxy?" Across the chamber, a second data crystal activated automatically, projecting a star map with hundreds of trajectories leading outward from Earth like the spokes of a wheel. One of those paths pulsed more brightly than the others. "Look," Zevla pointed. "That one is sending some kind of signal. It's still active after all these years." Meanwhile, in a distant part of the galaxy, Commander Pelthrak of the Nexoid Confederation watched as his exploration vessel approached an unusual space station orbiting a neutron star. According to their records, this region should be uninhabited. "Science. Officer Miller," he called to one of his crew members. "Take a team and investigate that structure." Frank Miller nodded, his outwardly alien features concealing his true nature. As he gathered his equipment, he discreetly activated a hidden transmitter in his wrist device. The message he sent contained just 3 words: "They found Earth." Frank Miller moved carefully through the airlock of the strange space station. The rest of his team followed behind him, their environmental suits protecting them from potential hazards. Though he wore the same uniform as the others, Frank felt the weight of his secret pressing down on him. "Stay alert," he said to the team. "Commander Pelthrak wants a full survey completed within 6 hours." The space station appeared abandoned at first glance. Dust floated in the artificial gravity, and the emergency lights cast long shadows down empty corridors. But Frank knew better. He could see the signs that others would miss, subtle indicators that this place had been maintained, just enough to keep it functioning, but not enough to draw attention. While the other team members spread out to examine different sections, Frank made his way to a specific panel hidden in what appeared to be a storage room. He pressed his hand against it in a particular pattern. The wall slid open, revealing a small communication chamber. Inside, a woman sat at a control station. She showed no surprise at Frank's arrival. "You got my message," Frank said, removing his helmet. The woman nodded. "They found Earth after all this time." She gestured for him to sit. "My name is Lisa Wright. I've been waiting for this day for 20 years. Frank sat down across from her. His features began to shift subtly as he deactivated the biological camouflage that made him appear like a member of the Nexoid species. Beneath the disguise, he looked fully human. "How many of us are there?" Frank asked. Lisa activated a holographic display showing hundreds of blinking lights spread across a map of the galaxy. We have agents in every major civilization, every significant world. The plan has been working perfectly for thousands of years. She pointed to one particular cluster of lights. This is the largest settlement, nearly 10 million humans living on a planet we call New Earth, hidden behind a nebula that blocks most scans. Back on the original Earth, Klixnar and Zevla had loaded the data crystals and key artifacts onto their research vessel. The discovery was too important to leave unattended, and they needed to report to the Galactic Council immediately. I still don't understand, Zevla said as they prepared for departure. If humans launched these arcs, why haven't we encountered their colonies? The galaxy has been thoroughly mapped for the last 3,000 years. Klixnar studied the star, charts they had downloaded from the vault. Look at these trajectories. Many of them lead beyond what was known space at the time. Some head toward regions that even today we consider too dangerous to explore. Black hole clusters, radiation zones, dark matter concentrations. You think they've been hiding all this time? Or perhaps evolving separately from the rest of us? Klixnar suggested. Becoming something new. Their ship lifted off from Earth's surface. As they broke through the atmosphere, Zevla spotted something unusual on the scanner. There's another ship in orbit, she said with alarm. It wasn't there when we arrived. Before they could take evasive action, their communication system activated. Research vessel, this is the Galactic Council Ship Observer, a voice announced. We detected your emergency transmission and came to investigate. Please identify yourselves and your purpose here. Klixnar relaxed slightly. The Council often monitored expeditions to restricted sectors. This is Senior Archivist Klixnar and Junior Archivist Zevla of the Historical Society. We've made a significant discovery regarding the human civilization. Understood. Please dock with our vessel. For debriefing, once aboard the larger Council ship, Klixnar and Zevla were escorted to a conference room. 3 Council representatives waited for them, 2 aliens from different species, and one who appeared to be from a species the archivist didn't recognize. I'm Council Security Chief Alan Peterson, said the unfamiliar one. These are my colleagues, Council members Drelkar and Voxthar. We understand you found something of importance. Klixnar began explaining their discovery, showing images of the vault and playing portions of Admiral Carter's message. As he spoke, he noticed Alan Peterson becoming increasingly tense. You say these ARC ships launched over 5,000 years ago? Alan asked. And each contained thousands of humans in stasis? That's correct, Zevla confirmed. We've recovered the launch coordinates and trajectories. Alan exchanged glances with the other Council members. This information must be classified immediately. The Council will need to form a special committee to investigate further. Drelkar, a tall insectoid being, clicked his mandibles in what seemed like disagreement. I don't see why. An ancient species that may have established a few colonies thousands of years ago is of historical interest, but hardly requires security intervention. With respect, Alan countered, if these humans survived and have been developing separately from the rest of galactic society, they could pose an unknown factor in our understanding of civilized space. Across the galaxy, Lisa Wright led Frank through hidden passages in the space station. They emerged into a large chamber where 20 other beings waited. Like Frank, all of them appeared to be members of various alien species. But as Lisa entered, they each touched a device on their wrists, and their appearances shifted to reveal their true human forms. Brothers and sisters, Lisa addressed them. The signal we've waited for has finally come. The archives on Earth have been discovered. A man stepped forward from the group. What does this mean for the timeline? It means we accelerate, Joe, Lisa replied. Wake the sleeper ships in Sector 7. Alert all embedded agents to stand ready. She turned to Frank. You'll need to return to your ship before you're missed. Make sure you learn everything you can about these archivists and who they report to. Frank nodded, reactivating his disguise. What about the Council? if they learn the truth. The council already has more humans in it than they realize, Lisa said with a small smile, including their chief of security. Back on the council ship, Alan Peterson excused himself from the meeting with the archivists. In his private quarters, he activated a secure communication device hidden in his personal effects. "This is Control Point Alpha," he said quietly. "Earth archives have been compromised. 2 archivists from the Historical Society. They have the ARC data," a voice responded from the device. "Understood. Maintain your cover. Learn what they know. We'll alert the settlements. After 5,000 years, we're almost ready. Just a little longer." Alan looked at his reflection in the mirror, watching as his features momentarily flickered to reveal his true human appearance, before settling back into his alien disguise. "Phase 2 begins now," he whispered to himself. In the archives of the Galactic Council, an ancient warning began flashing on a long-forgotten terminal. Written in a language no living being still spoke, it told of a species that had once promised never to return until they were ready to reclaim their place among the stars. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with uneasy conversation. Representatives from 200 species filled the circular chamber, their voices creating a storm of sound that echoed off the high ceiling. At the center podium, Klixnar and Zevla waited nervously. They had never addressed such an important gathering before. Council Elder Voxthar raised a hand, and silence fell across the room. "We have called this emergency session to discuss a discovery of potentially grave importance. Senior Archivist Klixnar will present the findings." Klixnar stepped forward, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. 3 weeks ago, Junior Archivist Zevla and I discovered an intact preservation vault on the planet once known as Earth. This vault contained records confirming that the human species did not go extinct as our histories claim. Instead, they launched hundreds of ships carrying their people into unknown regions of space. Images from the Earth vault appeared on the massive screens surrounding the hall. The recorded message from Admiral John Carter played for all to hear. When it finished, the room erupted in concerned voices. "Silence," Voxthar commanded. "Let the archivist finish." "Thank you, Elder," Klixnar continued. "Based on the trajectories recorded in the vault, we estimate that human vessels may have reached as many as 300 potential colony sites. The concerning part is that many of these locations are now inhabited worlds that have joined the galactic community in the past 2,000 years. In a darkened corner of the chamber, Alan Peterson watched carefully. His hidden earpiece buzzed with a message from Lisa Wright. "Our agents are in position throughout the council. Be ready to implement containment protocols if necessary." "Counselor," Drelkar rose from his seat. "What exactly are you suggesting, Archivist? That these humans secretly established colonies that later joined us under false identities? That's absurd. We have strict genetic testing for all new member species." Zevla stepped forward. "With respect, Counselor, we've analyzed the genetic markers provided in the human archives. If their DNA was mixed with local species over many generations, our standard tests might not detect the human ancestry." The room grew loud again as representatives argued among themselves. Some demanded immediate investigations of younger member worlds. Others dismissed the concerns entirely. Security Chief Alan Peterson finally spoke up. "Council members, we should approach this methodically. I propose we form a special investigation team to quietly verify these claims before causing widespread panic." "I agree," said Voxthar. "Security Chief Peterson will lead the investigation, working with the archivists. No information leaves this chamber until we have conclusive evidence." On the far edge of explored space, a massive ship drifted silently, inside a dust cloud. Unlike most vessels, it had no external lights or visible markings. Inside, Joe Martinez stood before a wall of screens showing various news feeds from across the galaxy. "They're forming an investigation team," he said to the woman who entered the control room. Deborah Morris, his second-in-command, nodded. "Just as we predicted. Is Peterson still in position?" "Yes, he'll be leading the team personally." Deborah smiled. "Then everything is proceeding as planned. What about the sleeper ships?" Joe pressed a button. bringing up a new display showing hundreds of small dots moving slowly through space. The first wave has been activated. They'll reach their destinations within 2 months. And the archivists? Do they suspect anything? No. They believe they've made a historical discovery. They have no idea they've triggered the final phase of our plan. Back on the council station, Klixnar worked late into the night, reviewing data from the Earth archives. Something didn't make sense about the timing. Why would humans launch their ships toward regions that at the time would have taken thousands of years to reach, unless they had technology not included in the archives? A soft noise made him look up. Alan Peterson stood in the doorway. Still, working archivist? Alan asked, entering the room. There are inconsistencies in the data, Klixnar said. The technology described in these archives wouldn't have allowed humans to travel far enough to establish colonies within their lifetimes. Yet the message implies they expected to survive. Alan looked over the data. Perhaps they had more advanced technology they kept secret, even in their own archives. That's possible, Klixnar agreed. But then why include the trajectories at all? It's almost as if they wanted to be found eventually. Maybe they did, Alan said quietly, then changing the subject. The investigation team will begin work tomorrow. We'll start by examining unusual technological advancements in the past 1,000 years. After Alan left, Zevla entered the lab. I don't trust him, she whispered. To Klixnar. Why not? I've been reviewing the Council security protocols. The genetic testing system was updated 800 years ago under the direction of the security office. The update specifically excluded certain marker combinations from triggering alerts, combinations that match what we now know to be human DNA patterns. Klixnar's eyes widened. Are you suggesting that the security chief is— I don't know, Zevla interrupted. But someone with high-level access deliberately changed the systems to overlook human genetic markers. On a planet known as Nexus Prime, William Grant stood on a balcony overlooking a vast underground city. Millions of lights shimmered below, illuminating structures built into the walls of an enormous cavern. The city had existed for 3,000 years, unknown to the galaxy above. A young aide approached him. Sir, we've received confirmation. The archives have been found and the council is investigating. William nodded. And our operatives? In position throughout council space. We've also received word that the sleeper ships have been activated. Good. Begin the final preparations. It won't be long now. The aide hesitated. Sir, some of the younger ones are asking, why now? Our ancestors waited 5,000 years. Why reveal ourselves at this particular moment? William turned to face the young man. Because now, we're ready. Our technology has advanced beyond what the Council races possess. Our agents hold key positions in every major civilization. Most importantly, the galaxy has become dependent on systems we secretly built and maintain. They just don't know it yet. In the Council laboratory, Zevla made a startling discovery. She had been testing various technological components from member worlds, looking for signs of common origin. What she found shocked her. Klixnar, look at this, she called to her colleague. The quantum communication chips used in every major system across the galaxy, they all share a hidden signature. A maker's mark that doesn't appear in any official design. Klixnar examined the microscopic pattern. What does it mean? It means that the most essential technology connecting the entire galactic community came from a single source. She pulled up the human archives. And this pattern matches a symbol found in the Earth records. It's the logo of something called Carter Industries, named after the same Admiral Carter who left the message. They stared at each other as the implications became clear. Human technology hadn't just influenced the galaxy, it had become its foundation. Every communication, every starship navigation system, every planetary defense network relied on components that, unknown to all, had been designed by human engineers thousands of years ago. We need to warn the Council, Klixnar said urgently. As they hurried toward the Council chambers, they didn't notice Alan Peterson watching them from the shadows, a small device in his hand. He pressed a button, sending a simple message to human Agents throughout the galaxy, they know. Begin final phase. Alarms blared throughout the council station. Emergency lights flashed in every corridor, bathing the panicked crowds in pulses of red. Klixnar and Zevla pushed their way through the confusion, trying to reach the main council chamber. "What's happening?" Zevla shouted over the noise. A station security officer rushed past them. "Major systems failure. Communications, life support, and defense networks are all shutting down." When they finally reached the council chamber, they found it in chaos. Representatives from dozens of worlds argued loudly while technicians frantically worked at control stations around the room's perimeter. Elder Voxthar pounded his ceremonial staff against the floor. "Order. We must have order." As the noise gradually subsided, Counselor Drelkar stepped forward. "Our technicians report that quantum communication systems across council space are failing. We've lost contact with over 60% of member worlds." "It's not just communications," another counselor added. "Defense systems, navigation networks, even basic infrastructure controls. They're all shutting down or operating erratically." Klixnar pushed through to the center of the chamber. "Honored Council, we have discovered something critical. The quantum technology that powers these systems. It all bears a hidden signature matching human designs from the Earth archives." A murmur of disbelief swept through the chamber. "That's impossible," Drelkar insisted. "These systems were developed by various member species over centuries." "No," Zevla countered. "They were introduced gradually by different sources, but they all share core components with the same origin. Somehow, human technology has become the foundation of our entire galactic infrastructure." The main doors to the chamber slid open, and Alan Peterson entered. But he no longer wore his alien disguise. He walked confidently to the center of the room, his appearance now fully human. "My name is Alan Peterson," he announced. "I am a representative of humanity, and I'm here to explain what's happening." Guards moved to surround him, but their weapons suddenly powered down. The entire chamber fell silent. "For 5,000 years," Alan continued, "we have worked patiently from the shadows. After Earth became uninhabitable, our ancestors realized that simply asking to join the galactic community would leave us vulnerable and dependent, so they chose another path. On screens around the chamber, images appeared showing human ships, hidden bases, and agents disguised as various species. We sent our best and brightest throughout the galaxy. Some established hidden colonies. Others integrated into existing civilizations, passing their human heritage down through generations while maintaining their cover. And everywhere we went, we quietly introduced our technology, making it indispensable without revealing its source." At the hidden human city on Nexus Prime, William Grant watched the events unfolding at the council station through a secure feed. Beside him stood Lisa Wright, recently arrived from her station outpost. "They're taking it better than expected," Lisa commented. William nodded. "Fear is tempered by necessity. They're already realizing they can't function without our systems." "And the sleeper ships?" All awakened and approaching their designated positions. William pulled up a galactic map showing hundreds of vessels moving into formation around key worlds and stations. 2 million pure-blooded humans, kept in stasis for thousands of years, now ready to emerge. Lisa studied the map. 5,000 years of planning, coming to fruition in a single day. Back at the council chamber, Alan continued his explanation. "What you're experiencing isn't an attack. It's a demonstration. Every critical system that's currently failing was designed with a safety protocol that only we can access. We've temporarily activated these protocols to show you the truth. Your civilizations have unknowingly been built upon human innovation for millennia." "This is an act of war," Drelkar shouted. "No," Alan replied calmly. "If we wanted war, we could have simply let your systems collapse. We've kept your worlds functioning, your ships flying, and your communications working for thousands of years without your knowledge." He pressed a button on his wrist device, and gradually the alarm stopped. The emergency lights faded, and regular systems began to return to normal. "We don't want to rule you or harm you. We want to emerge from hiding and take our place as equals in a galaxy we've helped build." On a previously uninhabited moon orbiting a gas giant in a distant system, one of the human sleeper ships opened its massive doors. Thousands of stasis pods activated in sequence, waking their occupants from a sleep that had lasted 5,000 years. Among the first to wake was Susan Baker, a direct descendant of Admiral John Carter. She stepped out of her pod, her legs unsteady after millennia of disuse. Medical teams helped her and others adjust to consciousness. "Did it work?" she asked the attendant helping her. "Did our plan succeed?" "Yes," the young man replied. "The integration is complete. The galaxy is now dependent on human technology. Our agents have been in place for thousands of years. The Council has just been informed of our existence." Susan smiled weakly. "My ancestor would be proud. We did exactly what he planned. We made ourselves essential." At the Council station, Klixnar and Zevla watched in amazement as Alan Peterson manipulated the Council's own systems with ease, displaying information that had been hidden in plain sight for centuries. "Here," Alan said, highlighting a section of code. "This is the operating system that runs every quantum communication device in Council space. It was designed by human engineers 4,000 years ago and gradually introduced through various front companies and research institutions." "But why?" Zevla asked. "Why hide yourselves for so long?" "Because of what happened on Earth," Alan explained. "Our world died because we lacked the resources and technology to save it. When we looked to the stars, we saw a galactic community that might reject us as primitives or exploit us as newcomers. So we chose a third option. We would integrate ourselves so thoroughly into the fabric of galactic civilization that by the time our presence was discovered, separation would be impossible." Elder Voxthar stepped forward. "And now? What do humans want from us?" "Recognition," Alan replied simply. "Acceptance as equals. And a seat on the Council that we've secretly helped guide for thousands of years. On thousands of worlds across the galaxy, disguised humans revealed themselves. Scientists, engineers, government officials, military leaders, all stepping forward to acknowledge their true heritage. The revelation sent shockwaves through every civilization, yet the galaxy didn't collapse into chaos as might have been expected. Instead, a strange calm settled over Council space as the full implications became clear. The humans had not conquered through force but through patience and planning. They had made themselves indispensable, embedding their technology and expertise so deeply into galactic society that removing them would cause everything to fall apart. As the first day of revelations ended, William Grant prepared to address the galaxy. 5,000 years of hiding was about to end. Humanity would finally take its place openly among the stars, not as conquerors or supplicants, but as architects of the very foundations upon which galactic civilization now stood. "By the time they uncovered our legacy," he said to himself, echoing the words of Admiral Carter, "it was far too late to undo what we had built." 1 month after the Great Revelation, the Galactic Council gathered for its most historic session. The Grand Chamber had been expanded to accommodate new representatives. For the first time in recorded history, humans sat openly among the Council members. William Grant stood at the center of the chamber, facing the assembled representatives of 200 species. Behind him stood Alan Peterson, Lisa Wright, and other key human leaders who had guided their people's silent integration for generations. "For 5,000 years, William began, humanity has lived in the shadows of your civilizations. Today marks the beginning of a new era, one where we step into the light as equal partners in our shared galaxy." The response from the Council members remained mixed. Some had accepted the situation with pragmatic understanding. Others still simmered with resentment at the deception. But all recognized the new reality. Humans had become too deeply integrated into galactic infrastructure to be removed. Elder Voxthar raised his ancient hand. "The Council has voted to formally recognize humanity as a member species with all rights and responsibilities that entails." His voice carried a note of resignation. "We acknowledge that we have little choice in the matter. Your people have ensured that. William nodded. We understand your concerns, but I ask you to consider our position. When Earth died, we were a young species with no allies. The galactic powers of that time showed no interest in our survival. Our ancestors faced extinction and chose instead to ensure human survival by any means necessary. In the audience, Klixnar and Zevla watched the proceedings with mixed emotions. Their discovery had changed the galaxy forever. Do you think they planned for this exact moment? Zevla whispered. 5,000 years ago? Klixnar considered the question. Not exactly this moment, perhaps, but they created a system flexible enough to adapt to countless variables over millennia. That kind of planning is remarkable. On screens throughout the chamber and across council space, William continued his address. We ask not for dominion, but for partnership. Human innovation helped build the systems that connect your worlds. Now we offer to share our knowledge openly, working together rather than from the shadows. In orbit around the council station, one of the massive human sleeper ships hovered. Inside, Susan Baker stood at a viewing window, looking down at the station where the fate of humanity was being decided. Next to her stood Joe Martinez, who had helped coordinate the revelation from their hidden base. Do you think they'll ever truly trust us? Susan asked. Joe shrugged. Trust takes time. We've spent 5,000 years deceiving them. We can't expect forgiveness in a single day. Admiral Carter always said that wasn't the goal, Susan reminded him. He said we needed to make ourselves necessary, not loved. Back in the council chamber, Counselor Drelkar spoke, his mandibles clicking with agitation. How can we be certain that humans don't have other hidden systems? Other ways to control or manipulate our civilizations? William smiled. You can't be certain. Just as we can't be certain that your species or others don't have secrets of your own. That's the nature of trust. It begins with uncertainty and grows with time and experience. He gestured, and holographic displays appeared around the chamber, showing detailed schematics of human technology. As a show of good faith, we're providing complete access to our technological archives. Everything from the quantum communication systems to the adaptive defense networks that protect your worlds. All the innovations we've introduced over the millennia. No more secrets about how they function or who created them. The chamber grew quiet as representatives studied the displays. Many looked stunned at the complexity and elegance of the designs. The key components in your faster-than-light drives? Human-designed. The neural interfaces that allow different species to communicate directly? Human-designed. The atmospheric processors that made 27 previously uninhabitable worlds livable? All human technology, introduced gradually and adapted to appear, as if they developed naturally within your own research communities. On the human colony world called New Earth, millions gathered in vast plazas to watch the council proceedings. For most of them, this was the culmination of a plan their ancestors had set in motion before they were born. Many had lived their entire lives knowing they were part of something larger, a patient, multi-generational strategy to secure humanity's place among the stars. Deborah Morris walked among the crowds, listening to their reactions. Unlike William and the other leaders addressing the council, she wanted to understand how ordinary humans felt about emerging from hiding. My grandfather told me stories about Earth, an old man told her. He said Admiral Carter promised we would return to the galactic community when we were ready, when we were strong enough to never be vulnerable again. Are we strong enough now? Deborah asked. The old man smiled. Look around. The entire galaxy runs on systems we built. I'd say we're more than strong enough. In the council chamber, William was concluding his address. Humanity could have chosen conquest. We had the means. We could have shut down your worlds, disabled your fleets, left you defenseless. Instead, we chose integration. We want to be partners, not rulers. Elder Voxthar rose slowly from his seat. The question before us is not whether to accept humans. As you've made clear, that decision was made for us long ago. The question is how we move forward from this moment. He turned to address the entire chamber. For 5,000 years, we have unknowingly lived alongside humans. Our civilizations have been supported by their technology, guided by their hidden influence. Today we must accept a truth that is both unsettling and undeniable. Humanity has already become essential to the galaxy. Across the chamber, representatives nodded reluctantly. Even those most opposed to human deception had to acknowledge the reality. Attempting to purge human influence would collapse the systems that connected their worlds. Therefore, Voxthar continued, the Council formally welcomes humanity as a full member of the galactic community, with all rights and responsibilities that status entails. The chamber erupted in a mix of applause and murmurs. Not universal celebration, but acceptance of the inevitable. As William Grant took his seat at the council table, the first human to do so openly in 5,000 years, he thought of Admiral John Carter and the desperate gamble he had made as Earth died around him. Carter had known that humanity might not be welcomed if they simply asked to join the galactic community. So instead, he launched a plan spanning millennia, seeding human influence throughout the stars until they became too important to reject. In the archives on Earth, a final message from Admiral Carter remained sealed, programmed to unlock only when humans took their place on the council. As William settled into his new role, the message played for the first time in 5,000 years. To those who fulfilled our legacy, you have done what we could not. You have secured humanity's future not through force or conquest, but by making us indispensable. By the time they discovered who we truly were and what we had accomplished, it was far too late for the galaxy to imagine existence without us. That was always our plan, not to rule the stars, but to become essential to them. Klixnar and Zevla, the archivists who had started this chain of events, watched from the gallery as history unfolded before them. The culmination of the most patient strategy the galaxy had ever known, executed across 5,000 years by a species that had refused to accept extinction.